Welcome back to the channel. We're in a new garage with, behind me, a new Jeep. None of this is mine. The only thing that is mine is this radio, and this radio is gonna go in the car that's not mine. It's a long story. Anyways, you'll know soon enough. But this is what we're doing today. We're installing from a company called Citriol, the Linkswell 5th Gen Jeep JL and Gladiator, so JT, radio upgrade. Supposed to be a pretty plug and play upgrade for the radio, and it comes with like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto if you're one of those loons that has an Android phone. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the install and see how it goes. Went ahead and broke everything out of the packaging. There's a ton of wires. Now, I'm gonna go through, ignore that. That's not instructions. What are you talking about? I'm gonna go through and tell you guys which of the ones that we're gonna end up using. I think we're gonna use most of them, but I guess we'll see. And then we do have a package of bracketry to mount the unit in there. So this should go relatively smoothly. The first thing we've got to do is take the old head unit out of the Jeep. So first things first, we're going to remove the factory head unit, and to get that started, we actually have to remove this entire section here. So this piece will come first. We're going to use a handy dandy trim removal tool and just kind of get behind there. There you go. Now there's going to be some wires behind this that are connecting all of these switches and buttons. So you don't want to pull too far away. But once we get it off, we'll unclip here. And then one more on the bottom of your start button. And our first panel is out. Alright, next we actually have the trim that's around the screen here. We're going to use a 7mm. You could also just use a screwdriver here, but there's 2 bolts on the bottom of this that we're going to pull out. And then, just like so, this guy should pop right off of here. There we go. We have 4 more screws right here in each corner, or 1 in each corner. We'll pull those out. Cool. With those 4 out, we should be able to pull the old head unit directly out. Now, if you look, the back side of this is a mess. There are so many different wires here. I'll go ahead and unplug each of these. They're all color coded, and I'm hoping that our harness is the same colors. Next up in this install, with everything out of the way, would be to install your microphone and your speaker. These are going to be for like Siri commands, or I'm guessing maybe if you're talking on the phone as well. In the instructions that Linkswell gives us that we definitely didn't read, it tells you to install the microphone up here right by the A-pillar, and then the speaker down here underneath this panel that can be removed. So in theory, that's where it should go. Now we're gonna hop in and install the brackets. The brackets are gonna go just like so. There's a left and a right. We're gonna reuse the screws that we pulled out of the dash already, 2 on each side, and then we'll be ready to start running all of our wires. So on the back of the panel that we removed, there's a lot of white clips, and I guess even a blue one here. all of these guys need to come off because they're going to go on, they're going to be reused. They're not included with the radio itself, but they're going to be reused on the back side of this. Just like so. Now the other thing we need to pull from here is going to actually be the start engine button. And once we get that off, we'll flip this back over one more time. And then this will screw in just like it did on the other one with those 3 screws one more time. All right guys, I went ahead and unraveled the wiring just to make it a little bit more daunting appearing, and it worked. So now we're gonna figure out if I know at all what I'm doing. I think it's not too bad. This is gonna be our main harness plug. This is going to go into the 54 pin harness on the Jeep. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then this little box here is going to be for our reverse camera. So I can actually go ahead and pre-install that onto this plug right here. And now that that is there, all we'll have to do is install the red camera harness onto this, and that should be functioning fine. So let's go ahead and hop in the Jeep and start putting in some of these wires. First things first, we're going to plug in this main connector here, and really there's only one way that it can go in, and then it's just going to lock down just like that. Now for our reverse camera box, we're going to the red wire. Again, only one way that it can install, and there we go. So now all of our camera power should be ready to go. There are some additional power cables here if you had multiple cameras, or you wanted to do a front-facing camera or something like that. You can always add those in the future. For today, we're not doing that, but now we're going to go through and install the connectors for these other 4 wires. The JL that we're working in today actually has the factory Alpine system, so I'm going to go on an assumption that it also has the factory amplifier. I don't know for sure, but we'll find out as soon as we power this thing up and see if it works or not. So we're using the with factory amp audio output. We're going to connect this harness together, and then a lot of these cables are just not going to get used. If you're wiring up speakers individually, something like that, that's where those are going to come in handy. But for what we're doing today, a lot of this is just going to get tucked back behind the radio. So I fast forwarded a little bit, and we've gone ahead and connected essentially all of the wires to their proper home. Now what we're going to end up doing is connecting all of this into the back of the radio on the bottom. So there's a lot of plugs. They all have one specific place that they can go, and so once we do that, we'll boot everything up and just make sure that it works. Missed the first startup, but I'll get another one on there because it actually has a pretty cool Jeep logo or Jeep image that comes up. But this is it's functioning. That's good because I was a little uncertain for a minute there. So we have the final install. So it's actually in here. It's nice and neat. Everything fits really well. It's pretty close to a factory finish. It looks like it was supposed to be there. So that's a upside there. Now, this does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It is the plug-in version of both of those. And so you'll have to have your USB for that, but it's essentially like a tablet here. So you have all of your controls to your climate, as well as the climate vent speeds here. All of our climate that used to be right here is now built into the screen. Now that we're all buttoned up, we're going to turn on the Jeep so that we can see our startup sequence here. There you go. We have a nice image of a Jeep. I know you can change this background. I won't get into that in this video, but that is something that you can do. It does take a minute to boot up, and we have the Linkswell logo coming in now. We'll hit accept. And there we go. This is kind of our home page. I ran the USB all the way down here on the side because this is gonna have to be plugged in. So we'll plug that in. We'll show you what CarPlay looks like. It looks just like any other device. And once you're plugged into the USB, you're gonna have your Apple CarPlay live. So yeah, this is Apple CarPlay. It works just like the original Apple CarPlay did. Unfortunately, we did lose the functionality of the auxiliary and power ports here, so there's a separate plug that you'll have to use for Apple CarPlay to function. I'll admit that is a little bit annoying, but that's not the end of the world. If you want to have the upgrade of the radio, I guess there's a sacrifice to be made there. I am curious if there is a way to make this function. For now, I think we'll leave our plug-in down there, and in the future we may end up swapping this port out for a USB plug and connecting it to the back end of the radio. So nevertheless, it works. It does what it is supposed to do, and yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. There we go. As easy as that. We wrapped up the install on the radio. It looks really cool. Hopefully my buddy's wife loves it, and hopefully we'll get plenty of great years with fancy new gadgets inside of the Jeep. This is not the last time you're going to see this Jeep on the channel. I'm not positive what else we're going to do to it, but it's far too stock to leave it this way. So stay tuned for more on that. We'll have some JL content coming up. We'll have my JK is going back in the shop. We're getting a full long arm suspension. It's already here. We're literally just waiting to get it on the lift at Primal. And there's a couple more Jeeps outside that I can't show you yet, but we'll get some good stuff going on those very soon as well. Anyways, I'm yapping way too much. This video has gone on for far too long. I'm tired, and you're tired of watching me if you're still here. So nevertheless, we're gonna end this video right here. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all of that fancy stuff, because it does help. And yeah, that's all I got. Take it easy, guys.